Maybe. I don't know why it's taking me so long to set this up. I apologize. Um, so typically we go live on Mondays, but I had to reschedule, so I apologize about that. And we will get going as soon as this loads. Oh, that might be it. All right. So I apologize in advance. Let's get going. Witch Doctor's in the house. Welcome. So we go live every Sunday, and I will read all the comments. It's more of a community setting. We'll all hang out. Today is just for questions, so I will just read those. I will bypass everything else, so it's a quick and fast live Q&A. But if you want to join the community and be a part of it, we'd love for you to be there on Sundays. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, you can. It's the $ in the comments section. It's a super chat or super sticker, and that just goes towards the channel, and we will put that back into the channel to give you better videos like the Nurture Right 360 video we did today. So here we go. Carrie Cowherd is in the house. Says, Zach, what was the average temp in the room where you tested the Nurture Right? Very good question. We actually lowered the brooder room for this process. Typically, we keep it around 75 to 80. Sometimes 85 if all the brooders are full, which they are. We actually lowered that down, and it ranged between 65 and 71, as that seems to be kind of what our house is. So I thought that would be a better test. James is in the house. Have you made use of the Govee thermometer hygrometer's Bluetooth and graphing features? Can you monitor the temp and humidity of your incubator remotely? You can. I do not. But you can. I'm in there for 8 to 14 hours a day. So I don't, but I know a lot of people that already do. And I actually had a customer that reached out to me the other day. They were having huge incubator fluctuations before they were putting their eggs in. They sent me the stats, and we actually were able to find out that it was right next to a vent in their house, and the spike happened every time the heat came on. So they moved it, they let it set for 48 hours, and no more issues. So it actually worked out great for that purpose, actually. So that was a great point. S.O. Swanson says the Govee makes two where you can monitor remotely. One is Bluetooth and the other is on a network. Graphs are hourly, daily, weekly, month, and yes, even year. Absolutely. Andre is in the house. Says, should a regular mercury thermometer be a reliable choice? Yeah, absolutely. I have one that seems to read my incubator well, but some digital thermometers I have are reading lower, have 6 thermometers, LOL. Yeah, I mean, obviously the mercury thermometer is going to be by far extremely, extremely reliable. We actually have one that Dale recommended. It's in our customer recommendations on the Amazon store. I did add some stuff to the Amazon store this week as far as the Myshire recommendations go, so you can check that out. But yeah, a mercury thermometer would work wonders. It would do great. Confused says, what is the minimum height of a jumbo quail cage? Very good question. I really, really, really would not go below 8 inches, but 12 inches is highly recommended. So I really like 12. I think everybody should do 12. 10 is okay. 8 is absolute bare minimum. And I wouldn't go above 12 either. It's either 10 inches, 12 inches, or 6 feet. I mean, it's big. But yeah. Happy Hillbilly says, I built some cages in anticipation, some Myshire eggs soon. They're 2.5 by 4.5. Would it be better to keep about 36 birds total, 5 to 1, or put a divider in and cut it in half? No, I would not put a divider in. I'd let them all be. Then you've only got one water system, one feeder section. It's just going to save you time in the long run. It's a good question. Is chlorinated water okay to use in the incubator? It's not preferred. You can, but eventually it's going to start deteriorating the stuff inside. best practice, and I'm starting to put a video together as far as best practices go, because as we all know, there's many different ways to raise Coturnix quail, but I'm trying to put a best practices together for everybody. Chlorinated water will work, but eventually it will corrode and deteriorate your incubator. Tap water, same thing, and it will last for quite a while, but eventually it will start tearing that down. Distilled water is ideal, and that will not affect your incubator at all, but any of them will work. Tap water is fine. I'm a little concerned about the chlorinated water. I don't know how long it would take for the incubator to be affected by that, but it would affect it eventually. So just keep that in mind. I'm really not reading the comments. I apologize, but I am glad that you are all here. So thank you very much for showing up. And obviously, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you can put a couple exclamation points at the end, it's easier for me to see, and I can go a little bit faster for you guys. Joe Sandy 1822 says hi. I'll just stop by to give a quick thumbs up and ask one question to anybody who can answer. Well, I lost the question. I don't see it. Oh, can anybody describe what quail tastes like? Is it strong, gamey tasting? I know this is highly subjective. It's a hint of gamey. I mean, it tastes like chicken, just a hint of gamey. The way I describe it to customers that haven't had it yet is a lot of people have had bob whites before, you know, because it's big for hunting and things like that. And most of everybody's had chicken. It's like right in the middle. So it's very high in protein. It has a lot of nutrients and things like that in it. So it fills you up real quick, but it's a hint of game, but not very much. But really, it just tastes like chicken. Is the best way I can describe it. How many Govee can be set up to one phone, more than two? You know, I don't know that answer. Somebody on here might know. That's a good question. I don't know. I would assume you can do as many as you'd like. I'm not too sure. I apologize. PJ's Family Farm says, Zach, Verna needs a new keyboard with bumps. She wore hers out. We can work on that. Ed sent me that comment. We'll make sure it's taken care of. I don't like dark. It is dark meat. So yeah, it is dark meat. But it doesn't really taste like dark meat. I mean, I would recommend trying it out, but you'll like it. You'll like it. Wrap it in bacon. Jasmine's in the house. Is there any harm in selling hatching eggs and live birds to local community without getting Npip certified tested? No, there's no harm to it. I do recommend a lot of people get Npip tested and certified, even if you're not going to be selling. It's just a great resource for you, and it's very inexpensive. But no, the only reason why you would need to be Npip tested and certified is if you're shipping out of state. Otherwise, it's not required. You don't need it at all. So it's a good question. Oops. Ron, I see this is your first live. Welcome. Glad you're here. If you can, hit the like button, support the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Nick is in the house. What's up, everyone? Hopefully you all had a wonderful Christmas coming in from Evans, Colorado this evening. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. There's an echo. Hopefully that is gone now. I don't know why that would be. Exclamation points would help if you could. I'd appreciate it. When you test Little Giant, see if you get cold spots. I think the far corners are not as warm as the cinder and affects hatch rate. Yeah, we will be testing that. Little Giant is actually next. We set that up tomorrow for 48 hours. So that is definitely one thing. I'm going to be very, not critical. I'm I'm going to pay attention a lot to the little giant for a lot of different ways. I I think that the Nurturite 360 is a good incubator, um, and it's fairly good to use for newbies. I think there's a difference between people starting out and people that's done it for a while. You kind of learn the tricks of the trade after a while, and learn what to do and what not to do and what you can and can't and things like that. Um, and I think the Nurturite 360 is pretty set it and leave it kind of thing for the most part. I mean, it wasn't reading correctly, but all incubators, right? All incubators lie. But the Nurturite, or not the Nurturite, the Little Giant is a lot bigger, and we'll be testing that a lot more. So absolutely. Have you heard anything on feed shortages in your area? Tractor Supply hasn't stocked layer feed for 1 month now. No, actually, Tractor Supply you can order online right now. Hopefully, it's still on. We ordered some yesterday, but they are doing chicken layer crumble for a 50-pound bag for $8.99. So for George's chickens and our chickens and the peacocks and a couple other things, we actually ordered a pallet of that. But you can order that online and they'll ship it right to the store. Bought the exact incubator yesterday, getting everything ready for my first venture into quail. That is awesome. Congratulations. Best of luck to you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. My Egyptians are 6 weeks old and I have separated them into proper ratio for breeding. Do I need to put them on layer feed or keep them on the 28% that I have been using? They are 6 weeks old. I would the Egyptians, so they're going to be jumbo. I would actually leave them on the 28% protein until 9 weeks. And then at the start of 9 week until the end of 9 week, I would give them half and half. And then at the beginning of 10 week, it's just layer. But because they're jumbos, you're going to want to go longer with that. So yeah, keep feeding them the 28% for another 3 weeks. Yep, and then do half and half for a week. So it's an easy transition for them. Very good question. Joe Sandy 1822 just donated $5 to the channel. Thank you for being so selfless with your time. You were so helpful. Well, thank you very much for the donation. I truly appreciate it. And that is what we're here for. We really are trying to put our money where our mouth is, or our time where our mouth is. And I preach and preach and preach about educating, encouraging, and enthusing others to become more self-sufficient. And I don't think that will work unless we are consistent with helping you and educating you and providing you a community and people that will help you on your journey. And I don't think it'll work unless you're successful at it. And I don't think you can be successful at it unless you get the questions answered that you have, and have questions answered that you didn't even know you had questions for. So we really are trying to do that. So thank you very much for seeing that. Just a heads up on Bluetooth on Govee. If you select alert me, it will not alert you until you manually refresh the app. Okay, there you go. That's good to know. Casey Outdoor says, I use a mercury thermometer in my farm innovator. There you go. I missed the room temp where the incubators were. I was 2 minutes late. Not a problem. It was 65 to 71 degrees. We usually have it much higher in there, especially with all the brooders on, and all the brooders are full right now. But we actually lowered the temp as I felt like, and I guess I should have looked online, like what the average household temp is. But I feel like 65 to 71 is kind of normal. I don't know. That's what ours are. So we lowered it to that to make it feel like it was like in a house or something like that. So 65 to 71 degrees was the range in the brooder room during this process. We are going to start the Little Giant this week, and we're actually going to do everything the exact same. We're going to leave the ambient temperature in the room the same. We're going to use from the same cage that we've been using from. Everything as far as that goes is going to be the exact same, so that we can't say, oh, well, this was cage 12 and this was cage 18, or this was a newer cage, or this was an older cage, or it's just same eggs, we'll see what the results are. I was very, very pleased with the results. I was very happy with it. I was a little concerned about the humidity. It stayed high enough. I would have liked to see it a little bit higher. They would have hatched a little earlier. So that's something that you might want to look at if you have a Nurturite 360. Just keep track of the humidity at lockdown. But it provided the results, so I won't nitpick, I guess. Ed Got Baked is in the house, and he is a moderator as well as Verna. So thank you very much for doing everything you do for me and the community, as well as all the admins on Facebook that I work with, or that really just do it, and I try to hang out with them every once in a while. It's Zach. So on your latest incubator test, how many birds hatched out of the 30? 25. 25. 25 hatched, 29 were fertile. Verna, never mind, you already did it. Somebody asked for the Amazon link. If you have a bad egg explode the day of lockdown, what is the best way to handle that? It smells bad. If you have a bad egg explode the day of lockdown. It's a good question. Well, I haven't had an egg explode for quite some time. But when we have had that happen before, really what we've done is just quickly take a paper towel, wherever it's at, we wipe down with half Listerine, wipe that part out, and then we just spray the eggs with Listerine real quick. Half Listerine, half water, 50-50, and hope for the best. And it's always kind of worked out. I mean, I know it'll smell bad, but it'll typically still get you to have a really good hatch, and then you'll just have to really clean that thing once the hatch is over. Dora says, where do you buy the pheasant hatching trays? All I can find are the Quail or universal trays. That's a good question. I found 2 different sets on Amazon. I have not put the links on there yet, as the first set came in and I wasn't a big fan of them. They were a little flimsy, so I don't want to recommend those. So I'm still researching that. I did find a few on Amazon, but I'm waiting for the other one to come in. The other one is made by GQF, and so you can find those on the Amazon store under GQF, or their website, or whatever the case may be. I'm thinking that those are going to be really good, but I don't have them yet, so I don't want to recommend them yet. But I'm working on that. I don't think I've ever asked, but how do you personally introduce your new birds? I know you have large breeder cages, but switch your males out every 6 to 8 months. How do you do that without fighting? We put them in. They're kind of trained. I mean, we've got a process, but typically we will take them out. We put them all in a small cage, so they're kind of really cramped for about 20 minutes. And then what we do is we have a little piece of plywood divider. We put it in our large cage, we divide it, and we put all of our hens on one side. And then typically we'll put a couple of males in there, open up the hens. The hens will come over, and then we actually move them all to one side, put the rest of the males in there, open up the divider, and that works best for us. Just because I don't want to take them all out and put them all in, and there's never any fighting for us. What size eggs does the Asian market like best in your opinion? Well, that's a good question. They actually are not a huge fan of the jumbos. Reason why is the jumbos are going to be typically jumbos take an extra day or 2 to hatch. The bigger the egg, the longer it'll take to hatch. So typically they won't be as developed, so if they are used to day 12 balut, well, a day 12 balut for a jumbo is more like day 10 and a half to day 11. So they're not fully along yet, just because it takes a little bit longer. Not only that, but we don't offer them anymore the jumbo size. Sometimes we'll put them in there if we need them, but very rarely. In my opinion, the best thing to use is a consistent layer, not necessarily the size. So we use a lot of Tibetans, Scarlets, Rosettas, and Golds. Those are pretty much our go-tos for our balutes. They're very, very consistent. They're a nice size egg, between 11 to 12 grams, sometimes a little bit bigger. So they're a nice size. They develop extremely well and very consistently. They're amazing egg layers. So that's pretty much what we offer them all the time. If I have big balutes, so for example, this week I've got 7. Yeah, I can't look. I think I've got 7 balut drop-offs Wednesday. Oh God, tomorrow. Oh, shoot. I got a candle like crap tomorrow. That is a bummer. So I've got like 7 balut drop-offs tomorrow, and there's a total of, it was something like 3,700 balutes that I'm dropping off tomorrow throughout the state of Ohio. So I'll be driving most of the day. And so obviously we didn't use any jumbos because I'm sold out, but we used Fab Fees, and we used mixed, and we used feather sexable mix, and we used pandas, and we pretty much used everything to get all of those in at one time, because that's a lot of eggs. But typically, if it's like an order of 100 or order of 50 or an order of 200, whatever the case may be, our go-tos are Scarlets, Rosettas, Tibetans, and Golds, just because they're very, very consistent in every aspect of it. It's a good question. What do you recommend using what do you recommend using to wash eating eggs for like farmers markets customers? What is a no like detergent or something like that? Do you use just water pressure or brushes or cloths? That's a very good question. It's a very good question. Yeah, detergent, bleach, any of that stuff, it's a no. You can't use that stuff on it. And you still don't really want to take the bloom off, because that protects the egg. So really what we do is, obviously Papa the Builder built something, and that worked great, but we don't use it anymore. We don't wash them at all now. They're non-washed eggs. But what we used to do is we used to take our basket, like a chicken egg basket, and we used to put those in there, in the sink, full of water, and we would just shake them back and forth a couple of different times, because they're not going to break because they're in the water. So we just do that. We'd bring them out. We'd take each one out, put them on a towel, and let them air dry. And if there was anything remotely, dirty with them or whatever, then we would just take a paper towel and just gently wipe it. But you can't wipe it too much, or you'll start taking the bloom off. So that's typically what we did. So, if you just let them soak in water for 30 seconds, swivel them around for just a second, bring them out, and just let them air dry individually, that worked great for us. Freedom Quail Farm says, I have 4 govies on the same app. So there you go. I did not know that. Got 1 pansy female, 1 pansy fee male, from my Fab Fee hatch. Love the look. What will I get him? What will I get if I mate him with Fab Fees? I got 1 pansy fee male, Fab Fee, a pansy fee, and a Fab Fee will give you you'll get some pansy fee out of it to start working on it, but it'll be minimum. You'll get a lot of Fab Fees. You could get a Pharaoh in there, because that's how the Fab Fees came from. And you might get an Italian. But I would say, let's say you collect for a week, you got 7 eggs, 5 hatch. Out of those 5, and again, I'm just spitballing here just to give you, just an idea. But out of the 5s that would hatch, you would probably get 2 to 3 Fab Fees. That 3rd one might come out as a Pharaoh. You'll probably get an Italian, because that's how the pansies are made. And then you'll get a pansy fee. Something like that. 2 govies on the same app. There you go. I have 9 govies. Interesting. Freaking explanation. It's all right. I'm finding them. I have 9 Govee Bluetooths to my phone and 3 incubators. There you go. So plenty. You can have a lot. When hatching a mixed order, Do you need to separate the colors during grow out, or are they okay to keep them all together? They're okay to keep them all together. They'll go okay. You can actually keep them together if you just want mixed eggs. They'll get along just fine that way too, and they'll mate together and all that jazz. But if you want to separate after that, then typically you want to separate it about 6 weeks if you want them separated. Do you have a favorite way to cook the legs and thighs other than a hot wing style? Nope, that's my favorite. That's what I like. David Smith says, just got my Govee. How do I set alerts for when the incubator isn't at the right temp or humidity? That's a good question. I know that it's in the little booklet that it sends you, but I never set mine up because I'm always in the barn anyway. So I never did that. And I was really just focused because the Govee was the last one we tested. And I wish I would have done a video on it, but that was before I even thought about it. But I think that we got in 7 total thermometer hygrometers, and the first 6 were just, I was not happy with. Half of them were trash. The other half was just way too inconsistent, or you had to, calibrate it, and I just wanted something where you just set it and go. And the last one we tried was the Govee, and I was like, oh, and it was like, oh, and I was like, yes. So I never did that. I was more looking for consistency. While we're waiting, Homestead says have 2 Govees on the way. They're little squares that connect to your phone. I know they are not the ones you use, but would you trust them the same? If they're Govees, I would assume. I have a ton of our customers that have different types of Govees, and it just seems as though, and again, I've only tested this kind, so I can only give you my experience, but it seems as though that Govee itself is just a good brand. So yeah, that would be completely fine. And I would think, I would test them, but I would think. Do the jumbo whites have white meat? No. They do lay dark meat. That is a myth. Yeah, jumbo, all Coturnix quail is dark meat. All of them. Oh, that tastes good. Donna says, does every bird get tested for Npip? No. I think that if you're a smaller flock, I think they test up to 30. I'm pretty sure they test up to 30 if you're a smaller flock. They test 68. 68. 68. They test 68 of our layers that are over 6 months old. Is what they do for us. Subi, aka Farm Girl, says, when selling balloons, do you place the eggs in the fridge post incubator or not prior to delivering that day? No, I highly recommend you don't do that. If by chance you candle a day early, I really recommend that you candle the day that you deliver, so they're as fresh as can be. And just think of it this way, that they're at 99 degrees. If you take them out to room temperature, it's going to slowly take them down to like whatever the room temperature is. We'll say 75, whatever. And then if you put them in the fridge, then they're going way down, and that's going to kill them instantly. And it's just not a good practice. You're going to start getting cracks and busts and things like that. So if you happen to candle a day early, I would recommend you putting them back in the incubator until you're ready to go. We do that sometimes if we're booked for the next day and I just have to go early in the morning or something. We do that, and that's not a problem. Or set them on the counter in room temperature and just let them be. They're, according to my customers, again, I've never eaten these. According to my customers in the Baloots, they can sit on the counter for up to a week and they're good to go. I don't really recommend a week. Kind of scares me a little bit, and I keep telling them that scares me, but they've been doing it for like 5 years, and so they don't listen to me, but it does scare me. So Don Ray B says, hi everyone on the phone, so I might miss comment, but I wanted to say hi. Already hit the like. Well, thank you very much. Support the channel by hitting that like button, just like Don. I appreciate you. Not talking to me. Joe Sanding 1822 donated $5 to the channel. I really appreciate that. We are going to be putting that to good use. I'm already excited about the next thing we'll purchase for the YouTube channel. I think you guys will like that video as well. Amanda says, enjoyed watching a review. The tip about putting the chicks in the brooder before letting them out of the incubator, would never have thought about that. I mean, obviously, you could take some cardboard, you know, and makeshift a little side thing. You might even be able to purchase something. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of buying something and then keep buying attachments for it. Like, that kind of irritates me. Like, if I'm going to spend $120, $140 on something, then I want it to be usable. So that was a big concern for me. Obviously, it's very portable, so it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, I would just put them right into the incubator, open it up, and then, you know, you can count the eggs that hatched or the eggs that are left, or, you know, take it out, put it all back together, and then just count the chicks in there, whatever you want to be. Or you can just use a little box. But yeah, we just thought that it would be safest to just put them in the brooder, because, like, if you already saw the video, you open up the lid and they go. So that would have been a disaster if I was doing it up high and no ledge, or no lip. I'm currently testing my Farm Innovation 4250, and I needed to increase the temp to 103.5 to get 99.5 temp on my Govee. That sounds accurate. That sounds about right. So I would trust the Govee, absolutely. Incubator Warehouse has pheasant trays for cabinets. I did not see those. I will have to check that out. Thank you very much for letting me know, Dan. Michael says, just scored a great deal on three 5-tier Wynola Ranch cages on Craigslist. Was planning on ordering eggs from you. Any advice for a new quail farmer on a budget? Well, if you can get a great deal on 3 5-tier Wynola Ranch cages, take it. That would be great advice right there. That'd be fantastic. Congratulations on that. Yeah, I did do a video maybe 2 weeks ago about different ways to raise Coturnix quail on a budget. So you could definitely take the brooder idea I had in there and use that. That would save you a ton of money. I gave you some things to think about. So that video would be really good for you to watch. I like the Nurture Right 360. Maybe not as much as I would like. Maybe I don't like it as far as a budget goes. I think it's a little high price for how many eggs you can put in there. But again, that's just my opinion. Everybody has different opinions, and that is completely okay. And I like that. I like that we all think differently and have different views. Well, if you've got the cages, I think our prices at Myshire Farm are very reasonable for eggs or live quail. I think that they're very reasonable, and you're getting top quality. So the brooders you can save money on, and I showed you how to do that in that video. I would definitely watch that. The brooders from Dale's Quails are really nice. I mean, that's going to cost you a couple extra $100, but I mean, they are nice, and I think you'll eventually go to those. But if you want to do steps, then I would do the cheap version of the brooder for right now, and then as you grow, then, you know, you can look at that. But I would say that video is going to give you much better information than what I would right now. Michael says, I use ceramic quail eggs in corner egg holes in mine. Seems to keep more even temperature. I use ceramic quail eggs in corner egg holes. Okay, all right. Interesting. Pine Hills Homestead says, love the Nurture Right review. We run 7 if you run a cotton string in the A hole. And in the pint jar, it's much easier to fill and hold steady humidity better. Very good. There you go. So if you have one or you're getting one, that would be a great tip. Yeah, all of my incubators and lockdowns are automatic waters, so I haven't had to fill a humidity for quite some time, and I failed at that. I mean, I made a huge mess every time. But it did keep the water in there. I was surprised. I was thinking we'd have to fill it up like twice a day. We didn't. We filled it up like once every 3 days. Like, that was pretty nice. I didn't mention that in the video. While we're waiting, Homestead says, what is involved in getting your small egg producer's license? Very good question. And I think while we're waiting, Homestead, you are in Ohio. So I can give you exact information on that. When we were getting the small egg producer's license, which we just renewed, which is kind of a joke, but we just renewed that. And all we had to do was get a well test because we're on well water. So if you're not on well water, you wouldn't even have to do that. You fill out a form and then you put in your $20 application fee, and then they send you a small egg producer's license. It's that simple. That simple. And then every year they send you a little form that says, if you'd like to renew, send us $20 and fill out this form. You fill out the form and you're good to go. I mean, it's really, really simple. It was really hard to find though. I remember, I mean, now they send us updates and information, but when we were looking at it, someone had told us about it, but couldn't remember where to find it. And I remember we searched for hours trying to find that stuff. I would not be able to direct you now. I can't remember where that's at. And I never would have written that down in our notes. I was just happy we found it. But it did take us a while to find it. Hopefully it's a lot easier to find now. Hi from Wisconsin. I have the Detroit 360 with 30 eggs in it. Thank you so much for the information. Wonderful. Best of luck to you. And I'd love to know your hatch rate, even if they're not ours. I'd love to know how successful you're doing. Cali Quail Keepers is in the house. I had my first prolapse today. Sad. First of thousands I hatched this year. Explain cause and prevention, please. Sometimes it happens. You know, I would say 1 in thousands. You know, I mean, sometimes it just happens. Typically, it's a deficiency in the quail with calcium and fiber. So either they're not getting it in the feed or they need extra of it than normal. And sometimes it's just a fluke. Sometimes they're just passing this huge egg that they just can't. And sometimes it does stress them out laying this egg, and so that will help them even more prolapse. Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes it just happens, but typically it's some sort of deficiency with the feed, and it's not necessarily your feed. It's just they didn't get what they were supposed to, or it could be a deficiency in them. Jasmine says, what is the wire size needed to allow quails head through the wire to access water troughs, feed troughs? Any thoughts on making these work for outdoor hutches, aka predator proof? 1 by 1 will work. We are in our barn, so we actually do 1 by 2, just because it's easier for them. But it's not very predator proof, but our barn is, you know what I mean? So the cages itself outside, I would just do 1 by 1, and they'll get out just fine. And be able to drink and eat whatever you want to do. And that's still going to be predator proof for you. In fact, if you wanted to go above and beyond, what you could do is the back panel, you could do 1 by 1, and then you could put half by half on that. Or actually you could just do half by half and then just cut a little square out by 1 by 1 is what you could do. That would be better. That would be a better idea than what I was going to say. I'm going to stick with that. Are you using pheasant egg trays for the jumbo eggs, and are you breeding pheasants? I am not breeding pheasants. We used to have pheasants, and we don't anymore. But I am testing out and researching the pheasant egg trays for our jumbos, because right now they are fitting into the trays. Sometimes we'll have to skip one, but we cannot double stack, and that really irritates me. So we have to put smaller eggs on the bottom, mainly the color ones, and then the jumbos on top. But I don't really always want to put colors. I just want to put jumbos, but I don't have enough space because I can't double stack. So it's really annoying. So I'm working on finding if pheasant trays would work. So we'll see. Is it cold? Is it too cold for me to order your breeding sets? I live in Virginia. Nope, not at all. We just shipped out, gosh, I don't know, 150 last Monday. Probably 150 last Monday, right before Christmas. They got there on Wednesday and no deaths. I think we've lost maybe 3 quail out of thousands that we've shipped this year. I mean, probably close, yeah, I'm going to say around 8,000 that we've probably shipped out this year. And we've lost 3 that I know. Oh no, Jenna said she lost some. 5, 7 we've lost. So they do really well. Cold winter, hot summer, whatever the case may be. Plus, we usually ship them a little bit older during the winter. So there might be a possibility that you might even get an egg in the box because we are shipping them a little bit older so that they can make the trip and be comfortable. Because we do guarantee that they arrive happy and healthy. Katrina says, thanks for talking about the ambient temperature. Not a problem. Does anyone use their small incubator in an unheated barn setting? I mean, you could insulate it. It's not ideal. Incubators, the two things about incubators, number one, they lie, right? We're all on the same page. And number two, they kind of adapt. You know, like I was using the example the other day, or earlier on the live, that the other day someone had contacted me and they had spikes on their Govee and they couldn't figure it out why, and they wanted to put the eggs in and they were stressing out. Well, it turns out that it was because they were by a vent. So they're very adaptable to the outside ambient temperature. It's not an ideal. If you can put them inside somewhere, that would be ideal. What size eggs does the Asian market like best, in your opinion? We kind of talked about that, but just real quick, I'm going to say more consistent layer, more consistent developing stages, and a very consistent egg size throughout would be Tibetans, Scarlets, Rosettas, and Golds. We have 2 Govies on the way. Two do-it-yourself incubators all the time. They don't have to. They don't have the readout like the ones you use. They connect to the phone. Would you trust them as much? Yeah. From what I can understand, Govee is just a really good company. I mean, I've never talked to them, but a lot of my customers have different types of Govies or whatever the case may be, and they're all very happy with them. So yeah, I would say Govee's a great company. Hey Zach, we are on day 12 after hatch of the jumbo whites. Their wings are beautiful. That is awesome. Congratulations. Hope it went well for you. And that's great. Congratulations. Best of luck to you. I know this gets asked all the time, but should your incubator temp range from 99.5 to 100.5? Yes, it can range, and it's okay. It's not ideal, but it happens. You really don't want it to go below 99, and you really don't want it to go above 100.5. 100.5. You really don't. Once you hit below 99 or above 100.5, you're really getting in the danger zone that it's going to either affect the development, kill the egg, not develop at all, whatever the case may be. So I don't really like to tell people that there's a range, because then I feel like I'm telling them that it's okay for it to fluctuate. So I'm not saying it's okay to fluctuate. I'm saying if it does, you're still okay. But try not to get it to fluctuate. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I hope I'm getting my point across. Keep hearing the Caternix quail are nasty and very cannibalistic. I'm assuming that would be because of improper housing. Your thoughts? It could be for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes you just hatch out a big jerk, you know. We all got to live with them, you know. Sometimes jerks are just born. I would say a lot of it is environmental. Not always, but you know, the male to female ratio is important. A lot of people think that it's more humane to have 1 quail per square foot, but it's actually much better if you don't do that, because they become very territorial. So 3 quail per square foot might seem unhumane, which is not, but I understand where people were coming from with that, except for once you do it for a while, you go, oh, got it. So yeah, I mean, the square feet per quail, the male-female ratio, how old they are. Sometimes it's just a jerk. Yeah, I would say the majority of the time is probably, I mean, as far as cannibalism, as far as cannibalistic goes, you know, you got to get those out of there, because if one dies, they will they will be very, very scary. So get those out. But as far as being nasty or things like that, not really. Michael Perry says, I plan on ordering my first quail eggs from you, hopefully by end of January. To keep from taking a chance of inbreeding, should I order from another company too and incubate hatch them separately? You can if you'd absolutely like to. That is completely up to you. You don't really have to worry about inbreeding. We do a lot of that here for you. That's not a big deal. You can breed for about 3 generations to 3 years. And not have any issues at all with just using one bloodline. But I mean, if you want to, then I mean that there's no problem with that either. So yeah. Aretha's in the house. Our jumbo wild eggs are on their way and should arrive on Thursday. I know, I just got them ready. We've started our little giant to stabilize temp. We all know incubators lie. I like the way you think. Is there anything else we should be doing? No. Actually, yeah, I'd like to say one more thing. So, did you say you have the go? No. Retha, do you have a thermometer hygrometer? Yeah, that would be my next question. Do you have one of those? And if you do, well, if you don't, you should get one. But if you do, then I would actually move that around about every 12 hours in each corner because you got about 48 to 72 hours before you got to put them in. So I would test each corner, the middle, for about 12 hours each, write those numbers down and see if you've got any cold spots because the little giants are notorious for cold spots. So I would check that as well. Can you explain more about chicks that look fully developed on day 15 going into lockdown but fail to hatch? Can this be prevented? Humidity and temp on point, 100 plus hatching but have some duds. Can you explain more about chicks that look fully developed on day 15 going into lockdown but fail to hatch? Yeah, sometimes, I mean, it happens for numerous reasons. It happens. Typically, they okay, so for example, our Nurture Right 360 video, 29 out of 30 were fertile. For sure, I know, because I candle a lot. I know what that means. So only 25 hatched. So 4 of them just did not hatch. Now, I could have gotten them to hatch. And to answer your question, you bump up that humidity extreme. I mean, like 85, 90% on day like 19, and they'll hatch like that. But it's actually better if they don't hatch. Because there's usually a reason why they're not strong enough to break through. So, you know, they didn't develop all the way. The air sac, you know, had an issue with it. You know, whatever the case may be. I mean, there's multiple reasons, but typically, because we've experimented with this, they never go into the breeding program anyway. Either they fail to thrive, either, you know, they don't, you know, make good weight, or they're not very consistent, or they're not very reliable layers. There's a lot of different things. So, I mean, if you have a lot of them, then that would be different. That would be something we'd have to sit down and talk about and work out. But if you're just getting a few, it happens, and in my opinion, you don't want them to hatch. I sent you a text, but figured I'd ask here. Today is day 17. Have 26 out of the 60 hatched so far. Temp between 99.5 and 100.5. Humidity 73%. Is there any way to increase hatch percentage? Your day on 17. Yeah, just keep what you're doing. Just stay consistent. You got a couple more days. You're on track to probably hit. You're on day 17 with 26. You're on track to hit about 45 to 50 to hatch. You're on day 17, and today is Tuesday. So Thursday, I think I text you back this, but on Thursday, increase your humidity by 10% and increase your temperature 1 degree on Thursday, end of Thursday. That'll give you day 19, and leave them in there for 48 hours, and you'll be set. But yeah, you're exactly where you should be right now, so don't stress. I have the GKF pheasant trays, and they're strong, sturdy, and I like them. There you go. Thanks for letting me know. They are supposed to be here Friday. Do you use pheasant egg trays for quail? I'm working on that now. I don't know for sure. I'm thinking that that's going to work better for our jumbos, not for our standards, but for our jumbos. But I still have to do the research on that, so I do not know yet. But we'll be doing a video on it, so stay tuned. If you have not, hit the like button, support the channel, and hit the subscribe button, because I got some good idea videos coming your way. I have a Right Farm Pro 352. The tray the light shine into seems to hatch out better than those in the shadow of top tray. Could light affect hatch? No, light really doesn't affect the hatch. Temp and humidity seem to be the same according to the Govee. Well, it seems to hatch out better with those on the shadow. Yeah, actually, that happens in our GQF as well. The bottom tray always hatches a little bit better than the top tray. I would assume because the temperature and the humidity are more consistent there because there's something on top of them like that. So I would assume that's the case, but we've never really tested that theory, but we all kind of think the same thing. But we typically get a little bit better of a hatch on the bottom tray than we do the top tray. But I don't think it has anything to do with light. That's a good question, though. Good thought. Hey, quail lovers, thanks for all your great info. Welcome, John. Not talking to me, not talking to me, not talking to me. My 7-week-olds are laying. All my birds are on meat bird crumble. The older birds need oyster shell to stop soft spots in eggs. Offer oyster to the 7 weeks now or wait to see. No, I wouldn't offer it to them yet. No, I wouldn't offer it to them yet. They'll do fine. I wouldn't offer it to them. You don't need to. It's a good question. You can if you want. I wouldn't. Just hatched out around 90 jumbo and got one like gray color and one with like a yellow color that might turn out to be white color, but they have their markings. The gray color, I would assume you're talking about maybe an Egyptian. You don't know. The white color, I would assume you're talking about they have their markings. Maybe you're talking, no, I would assume you're just talking about a jumbo white. I don't know. I'd have to see them. Is there a trick to incubating jumbos or any large egg 15 grams and up? LOL. I'm seriously struggling with all the shipped jumbo egg standards. No problems, like only hatching 30 to 40% hatch rates. That is not good. If you've hatched eggs from us and you're only getting 30 to 40%, I have not heard from you. So you need to let me know so we can make sure you're taken care of. But I don't remember shipping you any eggs recently. So yeah, jumbos, again, the bigger the egg, the longer it'll take. So typically you got to think about it with the jumbos. I'm doing research to actually give you this right information and to have facts and numbers behind me. But what we've done so far is we have noticed that if we increase the temperature by 1 degree, and if we increase the humidity 10% throughout the entire process, so 55 during incubation, 85 during lockdown, we typically get a much better hatch rate, but they still hatch out on day 18 or 19. That's when they start. So we typically let them go until about day 23, but our eggs are getting much bigger. So our standard egg is like 11 grams, but our jumbo eggs are like 15, 16, 17 grams, and so that does affect it. I can't give you the actual information yet because it's only been 2 hatches, and that is not enough information to tell you we've done the research. We have to do a couple more. But that is where we're leaning. I can tell you that. So maybe you can test that out. It's working for us, but again, I have to do multiple tests on that. I wish I could say more, but I don't want to give you the wrong information. I'm a 1-person household. I want eggs often and a quail meal about once a week. How many quail should I have? I want to start small. I would start with a 25 count. That'll give you about 12 hens that you can choose from, which will give you about 10 eggs a day, which you need about 2 to 3, depending on jumbo or standard. So if you're doing standard size eggs, I would say 3 eggs a day to equal a chicken egg, which would give you plenty of eggs. Also would give you plenty to incubate to be able to have a meal a week. So I would say the 25. And if you could, sell some randomly on Craigslist or whatever and have the quail pay for themselves, I still think the 25 would be plenty for you. Freedom Quail Farm says, do you have a quantity of quail you've found you prefer to incubate brood together so that they help each other stay warm but don't bully each other? Oh dear God, how am I already at 20%? What's that all about? I'm sorry. All right, I will pick it up. Do you have a quantity of quail you found you prefer to incubate brood together? Yeah, honestly, the more the better. So we put 100 chicks in each brooder. That's what works for us. They tend to kind of take care of each other and work together, and um, they do well with each other. Honestly, I think the more you do, now I do recommend 6 chicks per square foot in the brooder, 3 quail per square foot in the cages once they're 3 weeks old and older. But for the first 3 weeks, I recommend 6 chicks per square foot. But it seems as though that if you've got a very small brooder, like the Dale's Quail's brooder, he's got 2 sizes, but the small brooder, the 25 count works perfect. Now the 50 count would not work. He's got a larger one that the 50 count would work great in. Whereas our 110 count would work great for what we have. I think it really depends on the size of your brooder and not necessarily the quantity of your quail, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Absolutely, please do so. That'd be great. Not talking to me. Oh, there is a question. Is it more about how often I incubate to get the quail for meat? Oh, you're talking to Verna. Okay, because I don't know what you're talking about. What made you specialize in quail? I think they're amazing. I love the fast turnaround time. I think that this is what I was meant to do. I just love everything about them. I love the jumbos. I love the sizes. I love the community that we've created. I love the fast turnaround time. I think that people that are like me, my type of person, I grew up in the city. I never raised any. I mean, we had a dog. Like, that was it. Like, we didn't have any animals. I knew nothing about homesteading or farming or self-sufficiency. I mean, it was McDonald's 5 days a week growing up. I mean, just, we were just a busy, always working kind of family, home. And so to me, the Coturnix quail really got to me because of the fast turnaround time. And I think that if it was something like chickens where it takes like 9 months for it to start laying, I would have given up on. So this is just something that's just, and it gets you going, and then it gets you more motivated to do more stuff. So that's kind of why I really got into it. Go big or go home. I'm gonna wait for your Gigantor video. There you go. We will get to that as soon as possible. We're still putting more cages together and fixing our cages. We just did one video to show you how we did it, but we've got 12 to do, and those got to get done first. I all hope everyone is had a great Christmas. Been so busy I missed Sunday's live. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Do caged Coturnix really need sand bass, or is just that for ones raised in aviaries? They don't need sand bass in either one. They prefer it, they like it, they enjoy it, and happy quail is productive quail, but they don't need it. While we're waiting, Homestead says they do not come to your farm for small egg producer. No, they do not. I did find the info, but it says something about checking the fridge. That was not the case when we did it, but I mean, we've been small egg producer for 9 years, maybe more. So they might have changed something, but I don't remember it. I don't remember anything about oh, I do remember the fridge. It was something really simple though. Like, it was like taking a picture of a thermometer in the fridge or something. Like, they didn't come out and check it. We didn't take the fridge to them. Like, it was just it was real. Like, I just was thinking, that's ridiculous. It was something like that, something simple. So I wouldn't overthink it, is what I'm trying to say on that. How many hours of doing nothing but staring at newly hatched quail qualifies one to attend Quail Hatcher Anonymous? I think I need help. 45 minutes, maybe? I don't know. I would lead that anonymous group. I mean, so I'm not the one to ask. Not the one to ask. Built all my cages so far, 5 each, all recycled lumber. Very cool. Myshire quail are starting to produce eggs. Produce eggs. When do they produce consistently? Typically, whenever they start laying, about 2 weeks from then is when the eggs kind of finalize on how they're going to look and how they're going to be and how they're going to be shaped and their size, and they just go off to the races. So about 2 weeks after they start producing, in general. A lot of this I'm doing law of average. You know, everything's a little bit different, but law of average, which I talked about in the previous video. On our last conversation, you indicated my eggs would ship the first Monday after Christmas. I didn't get a shipping notice, so what? If you, I thought I remember shipping you out. If you want to text me tomorrow morning, I can definitely take a look. I would check your spam. Sometimes Jenna's emails goes to spam for tracking numbers, but if it's not in there, I can at least get you the tracking number or get you an exact date. But I know I made your foamer. I know I did. Text me tomorrow, 937-760-7282. Text me in the morning, and I'll get you that information. But you'll get them this week for sure, because I know I made that foamer. What is double stacking? So, like, for example, you can see a GQF, and it holds like 200 eggs, but they're stackable. You can stack multiple trays on top of each other. The trays that we have for our Gigantor, which is on our Amazon store, they are stackable. So you can stack high. We stack 2 no matter what. I think that's all you can stack in the GQF. We could stack more in the Gigantor if we wanted to, but that is a lot of weight, so we only do 2 at a time. But double stacking is just the tray on top of a tray in the incubator. Any advice on raising quail organically? I do not. I've heard the same higher calcium in chicken layer will cause the quail roosters to become sterile via calcification. Would organic turkey start? I don't know if that's true. I don't believe that at all. I don't think that's accurate. I think that's a myth. But as far as organically goes, I have not seen or heard of anyone having success with that with Coturnix quail, as it's just not cost effective. I'm not saying it's not out there. I just don't have the information on that, unfortunately. Sorry. Sanford's Attic says, I always use distilled water in the incubators and also add a few drops of colloidal silver to combat bacteria. That's a great idea. I also add colloidal silver to drinking water. Have you tried this? Yes, we have. Jenna actually makes colloidal silver. She hasn't done it in a while. But yeah, I really liked the idea of that. Everyone doing quail? They should, if you're not. Is there a math quote? Not that I know of. I'm very sorry. I had a text from my wife. She's gone. I'm sorry. I don't know where I was. I'm so sorry. Is there a number of egg hatching trays of X number of eggs per X square inch? No. So, like at lockdown, I don't have the exact numbers. But typically, if you can roll the egg all the way over, so 360 degrees, and it doesn't touch another egg, that's plenty of room. So you just need that, like that much. So I don't know what that number is, but that's our measurement. If that helps. New bumper sticker said, sometimes jerks are just born. There you go. No, they are not omnivorous. They are whatever is there, they will eat. Was cleaning my brooder box, and a 2-week-old baby escaped and is lost after 24 hours in the bedroom. They're fast. Wow, these things happen. Not giving up. You'll find it, and they will live forever. But yeah, it happens, and it annoys the crap out of me. So I get it. How many females in your breeder sets? The breeder sets, like what I sell, is 5 hens to 1 male. Can multiple sets be ordered at the same time? Yes. Set cost. So our breeder set is 5 hens to 1 male, and it's $50 plus shipping. If you order more than 3 sets, you'll actually want to text me, as the shipping on the website after 2 sets will actually charge you again, and you don't have to. I can use a separate box that will get bigger, but the website's not acknowledging that. So if you order 1 or 2 sets on the website, then that'll be fine. All of that information is correct. But if you order 3 sets or more, you'll actually want to contact me. I'll get you a much better shipping price, and I'll just send you an invoice. That's what happened yesterday. Somebody wanted 30 females, and the shipping was just outrageous because the female sets are 6 hens. The breeder set's 5 hens and 1 male, but they just wanted females. So it's 6 hens, so they were going to buy 5 sets, except for after 2, it was charging again and again. So I got a much cheaper rate as far as shipping goes. So, but that's only if you order more than 2. I just tried Tractor Supply. I'm not seeing the deal on the feed. Guess I missed out. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Who was that? Amanda. It wasn't Tractor Supply. It was Rural King. I'm so sorry. It was Rural King. I think I said Tractor Supply. I'm very sorry. Cali Quail Keepers. Oh, by the way, Cali Quail Keepers just started a YouTube channel. Check that out. And that's the name of it. Cali Quail Keepers. So check that YouTube channel out. Katrina, which is Sow and Tear, started a YouTube channel as well, and they've been posting quite a bit of videos lately. So if you want to be more part of the community, then check those out. They have some good videos out. I just was watching a couple before I came live, and it's always great to support each other. James says, as for an incubator in an unheated barn, put the baiter inside a brooder set for 70 degrees. That's not a bad idea. That's great. Good job. That's very creative. Amanda says, what books do you recommend for reference materials? It's a good question. I don't have any right now. Sorry. Can a food shortage lead to cannibalism? No, I don't think so. They can get irritated and they can start getting hostile, but not cannibalism. But they should never go without feed, and I will never try that experiment. Like, I will always feed the quail. They'll always have food 24/7, and that's just not one that I'm willing to research on. We have calibrated thermometer, but not a hygrometer. Okay, so you've got the little giant. Yeah, so every 12 hours, test it in each one, write it down, and see if they're all the same or within a half a degree each other. But there is a likelihood that one side of your incubator is going to read much differently than the other. But if we know that, then we can change it before you put the eggs in. I was sick for a week and wife forgot to feed them for a day or 2. She found 2 eaten. Ooh, well, okay. Well, then there you go. Then it might. Thanks for all your knowledge, boss. Is Npip all you need to be able to sell quail meat, and eggs? Only if you're shipping out of the state. If you're shipping inside the state, then you don't need any of that. Trying to figure out how much all the logistics cost to legally sell. Yeah, if you want to ship across state lines or sell across state lines, then you do need just Npip certification. If you're shipping in-state, you really don't need anything, preferably a small egg producer's license, which is very, very cheap to do, but I guess you don't need that. And typically you do need that if you're going to farmers markets, at least in Ohio, and you're going to have to check state by state because they vary. The rules and regulations vary. I'm sorry. Thumbs up, people. Absolutely hit the thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Let's Go Brandon says, I can't wait to get until I get your eggs this week. There you go. I think you said you ordered and then on Sunday, and I thought I asked you to text me and I'd give you an update. Maybe you got a tracking number. Hopefully you got a tracking number. Hopefully they went out. I don't remember you texting me and asking me when they're going out, but maybe it's because we already printed the label. Loved your incubator video today. Could you do one on the chicken baiter mini dome? Has anyone had any success? I have never heard of that one. Verna or Ed, if you could write that down and send it to me, I'll check it out. I do have some lined up. I already have the Little Giant starting. and it's here. I've got the Incubator here, and I want to do the Farm Innovator next. Those are the most popular ones people start off with, so I want to do those, but I can definitely put that on the list. If you'd like to donate to the channel, that's what we're doing, is any money going to the donations right now is going towards things that we can purchase to test out for you. And then we're going to actually do another test on the Nurturite 360, but then we're actually going to give that away to somebody. So all these incubators I'm testing out, as long as they're good or acceptable, then we're actually going to give out on one of our lives. So that's pretty exciting, but we're not ready yet. I want to do something else with it. I don't have jumbos, but all my eggs weigh 16 grams. Is that okay? Yeah, that's fantastic. Congratulations. That's great. Do you autopsy unhatched eggs? Would autopsy help you determine the cause? Yes, autopsy would. Absolutely, 100%. We don't anymore, but if people are starting out and want to know more or how to improve or tips, then I do ask them to either candle or do an egg autopsy. We'll say eggtopsy, after the hatch is over, so that I can kind of help them determine, because if you do that, I can tell you when it happened, if it happened, why it happened, what happened. I mean, I can give you a lot more information by that, which would probably be a good video, wouldn't it? I'm sure a lot of people would get grossed out by it. How old should the quail be before you collect eggs to incubate? Typically, I mean, I guess you could start incubating right away, but typically the first week of them laying, they go straight to eating eggs. After that, we start incubating after that. So the second week they start laying is when you can start using them for very good fertility. What the Quail Farm says, I love the quail community. Absolutely, me as well. Hello all, with the holiday greetings from Southwest Pennsylvania. I tasted quail for the first time this past Friday. OMG, I thought of ordering eggs and calling all of them. There you go. Well, best of luck to you, and I'm glad that you're hooked now. My birds lay an egg every day. Yep, that's, they lay about 300 eggs a year on average. Sue B, aka Farm Girl, says, who is your demographic for you to sell quail meat to? Is the Asian community equally excited about meat versus balloons? Yeah, they love the quail meat, but really, anybody. I mean, I got a ton of non-Asian market people, a lot of homesteaders, a lot of people that live in the city. I mean, anybody. Anybody can be your demographic for that. Now, obviously, balloons is an Asian market for the most part. I don't think we've ever sold anything that's not. I don't think we've sold balloons to anything not in the Asian market as far as that goes. But eating eggs, hatching eggs, and meat is pretty much open. You just gotta educate, encourage, and enthuse others to become more self-sufficient in that way. And you just gotta get the word out what quail is, because 9 times out of 10, when you say I raise quail, they go, what's a quail? So they just don't know. Thank you, Zach. Your info has been very helpful. Because of you and this awesome community, we have become a quail farmer business. I am very happy for you, very proud of you. I think you're doing great. I hope you keep me informed on all your success. I do think about it almost every day, about the people that have reached out and saying that they're having a lot of success. That makes me very proud. I'm glad that we could help in some way. You're doing all the work, but I'm glad that we could be a part of it. And I hope you keep me posted on all your success. I think there should be a quail convention. We can call it QuailCon and have it at Myshire. We do. That's a thing. We do have QuailCon, and it is a quail convention, and we do have it at Myshire, and it's September 3rd and 4th. So there you go. I want to buy Pharaoh's Wilds and yours free of the sex-linked brown gene, and does it even matter when breeding for color? I want to buy Wilds. Are yours free of the sex-linked brown gene, and does it even matter? It doesn't even matter. Some are, some aren't. Oh, sorry, very sorry. I froze up again. I've only got 10% left. I'm almost done. Oh crap, now I lost the question. I want to buy, oh yeah. Some are, some aren't. We really don't care. has no effect on breeding for color, and it has no effect on breeding back to farrow. It's not a big deal at all. I've never used colloidal silver. Is there a certain type to get? How much do you put into the water? That is more of a Jenna question, because she kind of handles all that, but she makes it. It's pretty easy to make, honestly. You can buy a little make your colloidal silver thing, but I'm not very. I think I made it once, and that was like 7 years ago. But that's more of Jenna's department. But it's really cool, and it's really healthy for you to put in your water. It's really healthy for when you're sick. It keeps you from staying healthy and from not getting sick. I really like it. I mean, if you don't know what it is, you should definitely check it out. It might not be for everybody, but I really like the thought and the idea of it for sure. Thanks for the shout out. We are following our broody quail mama right now at Sow and Tear YouTube channel. I hope I said that correctly. I think I did. I hope so. But yeah, check them out on their YouTube channel, Sow and Tear. Gary says, just joined Cali. Wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. I think you'll like it. I'm a firefighter on 24-hour shifts. My quail go without food about 8 hours and act like they're starving, but lay good and not mean. It's not ideal, but I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, 8 hours. I mean, they'll act like you've never fed them before in your life, but they won't get aggressive or anything like that. I mean, it's happened before here. And, you know, I mean, it happens. There's not much you can do about your shifts. But yeah, if it's just 8 hours, they're fine. But it's, again, best practice is always have feed there. Bags of Love says, just joined Callie's channel. Awesome. Not Tractor Supply. What's the name of the other store you mentioned? It's Rural King. Rural King. Rural King. Sorry, I apologize. Yes, Nikki James, that's correct. Do you do a review on quail egg peelers? That's down the road. I wouldn't mind doing that, and then giving that away. I wouldn't mind doing that at all. And I think that's a good idea, but I really want to get people, I want to get the basics out of the way first. And I kind of feel like a peeler is not really a basic, but on the same token, I do want to do that. Absolutely. That's a great idea. But that is on my list already. So I won't even ask to get that written down because it's already on my list. Hey, Zach, do you need Npip for hatching eggs too, or just live chicks? You do need both, but if you're shipping out of state, if you're selling in state, you do not need it. But Npip you need for hatching eggs and live quail if it's crossing state lines. PJ's Family Farm says, I got a quail egg peeler for Christmas. Awesome. Well, let me know if you like it, and if you do, I'll put it on the Amazon store for the customer reviews, because I know a lot of people are looking at them. So yeah, let me know. I'd love to try to help people out, and I'm just not there yet. What QuailCon in September? I know what my birthday present will be next year. There you go. Yeah, it'll be this year, September 3rd and 4th. We already have me, Whiskey Tango Farms, George is going to be speaking. Wynola Ranch is going all out on it. We're going to have raffles. We're going to have a dinner. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have fishing. We're going to have tours. We're going to have Slightly Redneck is going to be here for speaking. We're going to have vendors. We're going to have a bouncy house for the kids. We've got emus and pigs and all kinds of things to hang out. And it's literally a community, so you just get to meet everybody you've been talking to. So yeah, I love QuailCon. And I lost my spot. I'm very sorry. Whew. It's electric. He got it off Amazon. Very interesting. Yeah, let me know. Let me know. QuailCon or bust. There you go. Absolutely. Another great Q&A, Zach. Thank you for all your time helping everyone in this quail community. You're doing great things here. And thanks, Vernon, Ed, and thanks, Vernon and Ed. Great mods. Absolutely. Thank you very much. And Jasmine, you're doing a fantastic job on the Self-Sufficient Quail Facebook group. If you're not part of that, definitely join that. Jasmine has fantastic topics. She keeps everybody informed. She's got great ideas, and it's a great group. I'm very proud of her. I'm just over the moon about how she's doing on that. Muji says, my local feed store doesn't carry many game bird oriented feeds, let alone crumbles. What brands would you recommend ordering online, pickup, starter, or layer? I'd still go to the local feed store and just get like a turkey starter for the starter grower and a general layer, and that's going to be better for you if it's a crumble. But that's what I would do at your local feed store. It's going to be cheaper. It's going to be local, which is nice. So you know it's fresh. You don't have to ship it. You're not paying for shipping, and that works just as well. So I would check that out first. It's a good question. Verna put the Amazon store link in the comments in case you want to check out all the new stuff on there. Thanks for everyone dropping by and asking questions. Have a safe and great night. Remember, lives on Sundays and Mondays. Absolutely. Thanks for showing up on a Tuesday. I know it's not my normal night, but yesterday was just not going to work for me. So I apologize, but I'm glad we did it tonight, and I will be back next Sunday. And like Ed says, Zach, don't forget the Rant Sunday giveaway. We are going to be doing a ton, I'm sure, a ton of giveaways this coming up Sunday on our live Q&A. Anytime I say I'm sorry, I apologize, or anytime I go off on a rant, we are giving eggs away. So I might get in a lot of trouble for this. So make sure you join us on Sunday. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll have a lot of fun, and we'll start the new year off with a bang anyway. I would like to come in September. I'll bring the shine. There you go. I don't know what that means, Michael. Cost and name of defeather. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I've got a plucker that I recommend on the Amazon store if that's what you mean, but I don't know if that's what you mean. That is all for tonight. Thank you for staying. Thank you for asking the questions. Hope we could help. I'll be bringing out one more video this week, so stay tuned. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to do at least one short. Nope. I'm going to try to do one more video and 2 shorts this week with some good information, so stay tuned. And hit the like button, subscribe. I appreciate the donation tonight. Thank you very much. And we will see you later on this week. And Sunday, we will see you. We will see you next year. Have a safe and happy new year. And we'll see you then. Thanks, guys.